So Joseph ends up getting a double portion for his favor. Like basically his gift led him in, and it's only because he used his gift was he able to get out of the situation he was in. If he never used his gift of prophecy that God gave him, he would have never got out of that situation. If he just would have said, oh, maybe I'm having these dreams because I'm a crazy person, he would have never got out of that situation. If he had never opened his mouth and told the guards, told the whoever, whatever, he would have never got out of that situation. It's exactly like my situation. Okay. When I started using my prophetic dreams and my spiritual gifts that God gave me, I was able to speak about certain things. And though I look like a crazy person on the internet, a lot of that shit came true. And a lot of that shit had already passed. And the right people who were listening was like, huh, that girl's good. And they were like, you know what? Maybe she might not be lying. Maybe these people really are after her and they really are doing weird shit in the background. But anyway, so then he ends up getting rise to power, right? Because, hold on. So the Pharaoh was having all these weird dreams he couldn't really do anything with, right? And so basically they bring Joseph to the palace and he was sent there to interpret the dreams of the Pharaoh, right? And these dreams were about things about how to store grain and stuff like that. So then the Pharaoh is like, dang, this guy gotta, have some type of real spiritual gift. He has a lot of wisdom and such, right? And so he made Joseph his second man in power, right? So he became the second most powerful man in Egypt behind the Pharaoh. Okay. Well, then there was a famine, right? In his original town or his original place of being, right? Hold on. So his brothers ended up having to come into Egypt to try to get food, right? So they had no ability to recognize him. He wasn't what he looked like before he left them, okay? Before he got out of their care and before he, when he was sold into slavery, he looked like a slave, okay? He didn't think like a slave or act like a slave, but he looked like a slave. Well, now he had on all these gems and jewels and Jimmy Jams and all this other stuff, so he didn't look like a slave, right? And of course they didn't expect him to rise to power. They really thought he was just gone and out. Like they didn't have a care in the world to even think about their brother, right? So he takes them through a series of tests to basically gauge their character because he like, I'm about to spare these people who didn't spare me if they don't deserve it, right? Hold your mule.